Hi, and welcome to the Quality Management System for Basic Wells developed by Cordis Technology using the VCA platform. The Quality Management System includes customer management, order management, as well as quotation processing. The system can handle multiple quotations for the same order. Once the order is finalized, testing personnel can capture test results. Sample collection includes an automatic barcode generator. Tests can be configured and updated at any given point of time, and test results are generated in a report format. Additionally, there is an equipment calibration module that generates reminders for equipment calibration at periodic intervals. Let us take a quick look of the main testing process. To begin the testing process, it is required that the admin adds the test details and also that any customer is registered. Once these two processes are completed, then any of the customer care personnel can easily record all the order details in the given form. Once the order details are captured, then the sales manager needs to approve the order based on resource availability and customer history. Once the order is approved, then the orders team goes ahead and creates the initial quotation, which is then approved by the order manager. This process of sending a quotation to the customer through the email is completely automated. A number of quotations can be sent back and forth between the customer and the orders team. When a quotation is finally accepted and agreed upon, at that point, its details are recorded and the corresponding PO received is also uploaded in the system. Once this order is finalized by uploading the PO, then the administrator can go ahead and generate a work order. While the work order is being generated, sample collection can happen in parallel, where each sample is recorded and a barcode is generated for it. Following this, the testing team can then conduct the test, verify the results, and generate reports. Once all the tests are completed, then the invoice is generated and the billing process is completed. Let us take a more in-depth look into the testing process. So let us say a work order has a couple of aggregate tests, a couple of soil tests, and a few asphalt tests. So when the work order is generated, there are tasks generated which are then sent to each of the specific personnel. So a person who is eligible to do aggregate test only receives those tasks in their login. In the same time, the sample collection team can collect the samples and record their details. When the personnel is ready to conduct the test, they can select the sample from a list of available samples for this particular customer, conduct the test, verify the results, and generate the report. The result verification process can have two-stage processes, where one stage is where the verification is done by the lab supervisor, and the second is where the verification is done by the lab manager. So let us move on to the demo. Before we move on to the demo, just a quick reminder that this whole flow is completely customizable. If you need multiple levels of verification for a quotation, that is possible. Similarly, where test verification is concerned, if you want to add one more level, we can easily customize the process or reduce a couple of levels of verifications as well. So let's now quickly move on to see a demo of this process. So as discussed earlier, the first step in the setup is to record all the different tests. While recording a test, we need to select the test category, the name of the test, the method, the price, the unit of measurement, the department name that is going to be actually conducting the test. And once all these details, including the equipment details, are recorded, then you can save the new test. We already have around 70 tests configured within the system. So let's go ahead and start off with customer registration. In the customer registration form, once we fill up all the customer details, we can register this customer. Only after registration, you can start processing orders for a given customer. We can easily interact with the system through this menu-based interface. Let's go ahead and place a customer order. Customers can be either cash or walk-in clients, in which case there will be no PO generated, or PO-based clients. We can select the company name here. We just added this company. We can add a contact person name. Add all the details pertaining to the current project, and then go ahead and select the quantity of each test. For example, we have field density sand test. Based on the ASTM standards, we can select 2 quantity of this test. We can also select the 75 micron test, that is an aggregate test, and we can select 2 quantities of this test. Once this is done, then we can complete the customer order process. As we saw during the presentation, once the customer order process is completed, then we need to move on ahead to the customer order approval state. When we log in as sales manager, we can see that the inquiry response state task is now present here for Al-Sabah Industry, and the status is test selected. The manager goes in here. He checks the details of the test, also checks the personnel availability, the equipment availability, and checks these boxes. He goes through the customer orders history if there is any older orders available. In this case, it is a new customer. Clicks OK for the credit check and then approves this order. Once the order is approved, then the order team can go ahead and start generating the quotation. For generating the order quotation, navigate to CORDS, find the order. This was the order for Al-Sabah Industries. Navigate to Actions and click on Quotation. Once you click on Quotation, the initial quotation form opens up where we can write the offer price. So the offer price for this, in this case, can be 34, and the offer price for this will be 56. Based on it, the total price is displayed here. You can add an optional comment here and check the detail, verify the details, and complete the first process. Once this is done, then again the manager needs to approve this generated quotation. We log in as the manager now, and then we can see that there is a notification or task generated for the quotation approval. The manager can again check the details of the order and change the offer price if required. For example, it is 34, they can reduce it or increase it. All the computations will be done automatically. And then once the comments are entered and signature procedure is selected, the final acceptance and this whole process can be completed. When this process is completed, a quotation will be generated. As you can see, it is just popping up here, and a copy of this quotation will also be automatically emailed to the customer. Once the quotation process is completed, as mentioned earlier, the quotation process can be just a single quotation, or the quotation can be revised multiple times till a final agreement is reached. Once the final quotation has been finalized, then the details of the finalized quotation must be saved in the system. must be recorded in the system here. And then the payment mode from the customer should also be recorded at this point, and the final decision. When this is complete, then the next state is to wait for receiving the PO from the customer. Once the PO is received, the PO file needs to be uploaded right here. Once the PO file is uploaded and the process is complete, the initial order processing is done, and now we need to move on to the test processing state. During the testing stage, the first thing to do is to generate a work order. The work order ensures that the tasks are generated for all of the tests included in this order, and those tasks are assigned to the corresponding personnel without any human interaction. So here, let us select the company. Our order number was 548. Also select the quotation ID, that is the final quotation ID. And the tests are listed out here. The moment we click on complete, the notifications will be generated for the corresponding testing personnel, which will be available in their logins. As you can see, a copy of the generated work order is also available here, which you can share with the customer, or we can configure it to be emailed directly to the customer as well. Once a work order is generated, then we can go ahead and proceed to sample collection. When each sample is collected, all the details of the sample need to be recorded here, and along with it, the moment the details of a sample are recorded, let's quickly fill in the test category, the sample name, the sampling method, one, sampling condition, normal, quantity, 2 blocks, and department, put it as a specialist department, sample collection. Once you fill in all these details and you click on the start button, the sample details will be saved in the system, and a barcode will automatically be generated, which you can then immediately attach on the sample to make its tracking simple. You can see this is the system generated barcode. Once the work order is completed, the sample collection is completed, the testing personnel can then log in and they will see these generate tasks for the tasks that are assigned to them. So they can go ahead, pick any one test. All the details of the test, including the company name, the inquiry number, the work order number, all these details are available here. And then they can select the sample that is available. Since we have only recorded one sample here, we pick the sample, click on complete. The moment we click on complete, it takes us to the form where we can enter the actual testing details, which is the maximum size of the aggregate, the water temperature, the material identification, testing performed at, whether it is at the lab or site, tested by, all of these details, and then fill in these numbers. This is a very Excel-like format where you just need to give the inputs. The moment you feed in all the input values, the computations are done by themselves. As you can see, when we entered these three values, automatically this was computed. So this grid is a lot more user-friendly than Excel, but encompasses pretty much the same functionality. Once the test is completed, then a verification task is generated, first for the lab supervisor and then for the lab manager as well. This is a lab supervisor screen where the lab supervisor can read all the details about the test, see the values that have been entered and the computation performed. Once they're satisfied with this result, they can go ahead and approve this result. And send it for approval by the lab manager. Once we log in as the lab in charge, we can see that there is a task here for Al-Sabah Industries and the order code was 548. The lab manager can then check the details once more. As these data is very sensitive, there should not be any mistakes. They can verify all the values. They can check that it has already been approved by the lab supervisor. And now they can put in their approval as well if they're satisfied with the results, and the process is completed. Once the process is completed, the lab manager has also approved the test result. Then the result is ready for being shared with the customer. As you can see, the quality management system that has been developed for basic wells is a comprehensive one-step solution for all the needs of the system. Once all the tests are completed, then an invoice can be generated using the invoice function. Additionally, there is also an equipment calibration system whereby the details of each equipment and its last calibration date is recorded along with the scheduled calibration date for the next calibration. Whenever it is ready for calibration, the task will be generated automatically, making it a very seamless experience for not only managing the test, but also the maintaining the equipment. So as you can see, the quality management system developed for basic wells is a one-stop shop for all your testing management needs. Thank you.